coming up on that 700th win, just kind of wanted to talk to you a little bit. I don't know if you think about legacy a whole lot. I don't know if that's something that comes into your mind at all. But I mean, you've been coaching. This is your 27th year now. How are you feeling?
I feel pretty good. I mean, I think that every day is a new day and a new challenge. Those years kind of build up quick, and you don't realize that it's 27. But you realize that they're not 27 years of doing the same exact thing. It's 27 new years that you do, and new people, and new teams, and new situations. So it's just been a great adventure and challenging at the same time that I've been going through. So it's been fun.
And you talk about new experiences. How does this year's team bring maybe some new challenges as opposed to some that you've had in the past?
Well, I think one of the things that we've done the last couple years have went to a smaller lineup, which means that we have some advantages with shooting guards and quicker players maybe out on the floor. But then that also creates some mismatch problems where we're guarding bigger people. And something I always have liked to do is control the rebounding area. And so there's give and take when you have a smaller lineup. You're going to lose some of that physicality, and you're going to lose some of that rebounding that I normally like to see in a team. But you've got to be able to do something with every team that's playing to their strengths, and that's our strength. So we need to play that way, and so far we've done well with it.
So I'm going to read off a couple stats here, and I just I want to get your feeling for just when you hear these things, when you think back on your career, just sort of what you're thinking. You've got more wins than all the other Bethel coaches combined. You're now up to 695 now, 5 wins away from 700, 7 national titles, 17 conference titles, 5 National Coach of the Year awards, 6 Crossroads League Coach of the Year awards. 27-7 record in the NAIA tournament. Never finished before the Sweet 16 when you've reached the NAIA tournament. Always made the Sweet 16. You think, back up, we've been doing this, top 10 list. I mean, think about all the great players you've coached, Rico, Eric Brand, Jody. I mean, all that stuff. What comes to your mind when you hear that?
Just how fortunate I've been to be a part of that. And, a lot of those national championship games have been decided in the last second shot. And so how blessed we are to be able to say, wow, we won those games. In most cases, we lost one that way, but we've won most of those times. And so I think that's just so fortunate to be able to do that. What a blessing. And then you mentioned names like Rico and Jody and, Eric Brand. I've had so many great players over the years and great assistant coaches. So that's really what goes through my mind is the relationships that you have with your players, and more importantly, maybe the relationships you have with them 10 years after they graduate, and seeing how they're doing in their families, in their churches, in their communities. Those are the things that really tell me that, we've had some impact.
Do you ever think about your legacy at all?
No, I do not. I think of legacy, I think of that. I think that one of the things you try to do is do your best with what God's given you. And so, I talk to our players a lot about not living a life of success, live a life that is significant. And so I think one of the things we're just trying to do is try to impact people in a positive way. And the wins, those are always happen, you play. But I think one of the things that I really wanted to try to teach our young men to prepare themselves for life. That's really what my heart and passion is when I go into practice every day or coaching or spending time with the players. Just what are we doing to prepare them for the real world out there and the real challenges that are out there that they're going to be faced with the rest of their life after basketball and after Bethel.
So I kind of wonder if you now, this version of Mike Lightfoot, could go back to that first year coaching version of Mike Lightfoot, any advice would you give that guy?
Well, there's a lot of things I would do differently, but I think probably the biggest mistake that all of us make is that we don't embrace the moment at the time. I have a huge character flaw in that I'm focusing in on the next rather than the now. And I think right now it's very important to embrace the now rather than the next, and understand that life is a process, and you got to embrace the process each and every day and not worry about the final product all the time. But I get caught in trying to think about where I want our team to be rather than where they are. And that's something I think I wish I would have, as I would have started out, that first year, thinking, hey, embrace the process a little more, embrace and enjoy the victories, enjoy the national championships a little more, rather than worrying about what do we know now, what's the next step, how do we top that. I think those are the things that human nature catches you, and you start getting caught in that monster of what's the next mountain to climb, what's the next challenge ahead.
Yeah. Well, I do want to look ahead a little bit.
Sure.
And I wonder, you have been coaching for 27 years.
Yes.
How much longer do you see yourself doing this?
That is also another thing that I take in stride every day. Mm-hmm. And I remember Coach Krzyzewski saying that he looks at it pretty much month by month. Not year by year, but month by month. And I think that's kind of what, I look at it. I look at it as a God thing. How long do I want to be doing this, and what are other plans that maybe I should be focused in on rather than just coaching. But I think right now, I think the focus is on the now and making sure that I'm doing the best I can each and every day, and trying to impact people and doing the things that I need to do both on and off the court. So that is a question. I've had that question for really 10 years. Well, how much longer do you go? What do you do? I do think that I have other skills sets that I feel I can give and make an impact. But right now, at this moment, this is where I need to be, and this is where I want to be doing. And it's been a great ride. I love my assistant coaches. I love being able to coach with Ryan and Tony and Alex. I love our players. I think those are good things that you've got to love what you do, or you shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah. Well, we hope you're here another 27 years at least.
I don't think you'll seeing that. I don't think you'll be seeing that. They're going to be wheeling me out here in a wheelchair, and no, that's not what I'm going to do.
You mentioned Ryan there, and I wonder, what has it been like to have both of your sons?
Yes.
Be
a
really big part of this program.
Absolutely.
As players, and then now assistant coach, and then Robbie, working with the media so much.
Yeah. When I got into this years ago, even when I was a high school coach, the thing that I really wanted to make sure, and I got that advice from my mentor, Homer Drew, was to make sure that you get your family involved. Coaching is so demanding on time and responsibilities that from the very beginning at Marion High School, we got involved as a family. So my wife was involved. She was involved in the players' lives. She was involved in making cookies and taking care of them and doing all those things. And then as the boys came along, they were running around in the gym and riding on the bus and spending time with the players and sleeping in Oakwood with the guys, when they were just real young. So they've always been involved in the process. And then as players, they had impact there. And now that's continued on, both on and off the floor. So it's been ingrained in them. We do this as a family. And even though now the boys are older and married, we still have invested in Bethel basketball as a family. And I think that's what keeps it strong. I don't think it would have worked if I would have done my thing and my wife would have done something else and the boys would have done something else. We've kept this a family atmosphere.
One question I sort of had when I was thinking back, we mentioned some of these statistics, some of those highlights, and just how great your career has been up to this point. Have you ever had offers from, bigger schools I figured something's had to come your way at some point.
Sure.
Have you ever had any of those?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Any specific
and they've been
ones?
tough. they've been tough ones. Really tough to decide if I'm going to transplant my family and look at those things. And a lot of prayer has went into making, maybe no decision rather than the decision. Always it's tempting to go bigger. You look at what people are getting paid and all those things rush through your mind. But I think you have to look at, where do you feel comfortable? Where do you really feel comfortable? What's your calling? What's your mission? I've seen coaches make mistakes where they always think bigger is better. And I've spent a lot of time analyzing all the coaches and the coaches that are out there at the high Division I and all I just never felt really comfortable. There was one time where I got real close. That was at Valparaiso University, and that was a real close time where I'd spent a lot of time over there, and I thought it was a good fit because I was following Coach Drew, and I did that here, so there was a lot of comparisons there. But again, when it all said and done, I felt like I made the right decision staying where I'm at.
And that was a head coach offer there?
Yeah.
And have there been any other Division I offers like that?
Well, there's been opportunities. Yeah. You have to throw your name in a hat. You have people talk to you. You show interest. You spend time with them, and then there's been many of those along the way. But that was one where I got real close. I would say it was real close to pulling the trigger of saying, you know what, this is the next challenge for our family to go that route. And Robbie was a freshman here. He was very supportive of me leaving and going, but at the same time, it was just something I had to pray about and say, is this where I want to be? And when it all shook out, it wasn't where I was supposed to be.
So in the end, what made you want to stay here at Bethel?
Well, I've always believed in the school. I believed in what the players are doing. I just felt like this is my mission and this is my ministry. It's like a pastor stays at the same church, why a CEO stays with the same company. You just feel like this is where I'm supposed to be, and until I get a clear calling that no, this is time to move on, then I just feel like I got to be where I need to be and do what I need to do and impact the people where I'm at. And I've never had that choker chain tug to say no, it's time to get moving on to something else. So that's kind of where I've always had the process of thinking about it. This is where I need to be. This is where I feel comfortable. My family's here. I'm comfortable here. And I feel like I have a lot of things to do here.
And sort of along those same lines, what specifically makes this program, this Bethel program, so special? What sets it apart?
Wow. I think when all is said and done, everything, that the tradition, the winning, those are all really things, the 7 national championships, those are all neat things and things, banners on the wall. But I really think it boils down to having great relationships with current players and relationships with previous players, that there's a connection, there's a family involvement where our players from 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and last year are all connected. That they know each other, they care about each other, they know that what each player is going through as a player than what has happened to them after that. So there's a brotherhood, there's a Bethel fraternity, a family that, I get emails, text messages, and phone calls from former players, and they want to know how we're doing now, and we want to make sure we're still invested in their life. And so our players give back to the school, and I think it's the relationship that we have with one another.
Any highlights of your career that just, especially stand out to you? Like, oh man, that's something that I'm always going to remember.
Wow. All the national championship games do stick out, But, there's other things that really jump out of my mind. even though it was a tough situation, but it was a great moment for Bethel, was when we defeated Valparaiso. When they went, the year they went to the Sweet 16, and we went over there in a snowstorm and played Valparaiso on that cold Saturday morning, and came out with a 10-point victory. And how I just felt so good for our guys that they were able to do something that no one expected them to do, to go over to Valparaiso and defeat a very, very good Division I school. So that's a great memory. But the other things that just jump out at me is mission trips. And a lot of mission trips. We've been on, 20 plus mission trips, and just seeing how our players have changed and have a different perspective of life just because of what they experienced and what they saw. And then I see a change in them. When we come back changed, and then you see their lives have changed. And we've had guys that have went to the mission field as a result of our mission trips. So those type of things, when you see life-changing moments, that's more important in any ball game.
And that Valpo game, that was the year they went to the Sweet 16. Right?
Yes, it was, and we beat them by 10. It was really a great game for our guys. They played so hard and so well, and they just knocked in shots. I think we kind of just shocked the world a little bit, and it's been tough to play Division I schools since then because they remember that. People say, wait a minute, we remember you, So it's been one of those things where it's still been tough to kind of get out of that shadow of, we know who Bethel is. Yeah, we know who you beat, and so that's been a good thing, but a bad thing.
Yeah, which is probably a good feeling.
Yeah, it is.
That all these teams, oh yeah, we know about Bethel.
Oh yeah, it really does. Yeah, that's the neat thing about as I challenge our players. People know about our program across the country, and when you talk to people, they know who Bethel is, especially in the basketball realm of life. They know a lot about Bethel.
Yeah, I've always wondered, why we don't play a game with Notre Dame. We're crosstown teams.
We worked hard at that.
Yeah.
We've been trying to work harder at that here in the last few months, try to make that happen.
Yeah.
It's just hasn't been able to be put together. That's there's a lot of things that have to work out in that situation. But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. We have a great relationship with Notre Dame, so that doesn't matter.
Right. That would be so cool. In fact, the other day I was talking with Jeff Jeffers about that, and just saying, man, that I'd love to see it. Who knows what the outcome would be? And he was like,
well,
you'd have to get your scorebooks out. They'd be putting up points on you guys. I was like, well, we'll see. I don't know.
There was a day back in the 90s where I felt like we actually would beat them because we had played corresponding teams. Valparaiso beat Notre Dame. We beat Valpo. I mean, there was times they've taken their program to another level and all that thing. But yeah, we see that when they play exhibition games against teams at our level, the Cardinal Stritches and people like that, then you guys think, boy, that'd be nearly nice.
They played Cardinal Stritch?
They played Cardinal Stritch, and Cardinal Stritch ended up being an 8-point game last year.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Exhibition game, and they kept saying, hey, Cardinal Stritch, we don't want any part of those guys anymore. And they said, wait a minute, they're the same level as you are, right? And I go, yes, we are the same level. So Cardinal Stritch didn't help our cause any as well.
And I saw IWU played Indiana, didn't they? In an
IWU and Grace have both played Indiana.
Oh, I didn't know Grace played.
Yeah,
Man,
yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Because not only are those our level, but those are conference.
Yes,
teams,
exactly.
So.
That's exactly right. And we've had some success, as a conference in playing bigger dogs, and that just says a lot about our league and the quality of play in our league.
I was just looking at the NAIA poll today, and there's 5 teams just from our conference.
Absolutely.
In that poll.
Isn't that amazing?
Votes. It's a good.
It is, it's the greatest conference in the country, and that's why you look at why we've done well in the NAIA tournament, and it's just obvious. We're well prepared because we've played through the grind of the Cornerstone or Crossroads League and the Mid Central Conference before. That we have played awfully talented teams. Once we get to the tournament in the NAIA, we have really one focus: not showing up, but to win it. Our guys have a mentality that we're going there to win the whole thing, and I think that helps us. Some teams are just happy to be there, be and experience that. Our guys have a different mindset because they know that teams before them have went there and have been successful. So that's kind of what they're trying to do.
So speaking of that, we've been doing a lot of looking back here.
Yeah.
You said you're a guy who likes to look forward a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
This team.
Yeah.
You've coached 7 national championship teams.
Yeah.
Does this team have what it takes to do that?
That is something that is another really good question. I think one of the things that yes, I'm going to say that, because in our previous national championship teams, at least a couple of those, I didn't really know. I really didn't know if they were a national championship contender, if they could win a national championship, but they did it. So do you have to be lucky? Yeah. Do you have to be good? Yeah. Do you have to have all the things kind of fall your way? Absolutely. But a lot of times you make those things happen. I believe that 3 or 4 of our teams in our league could win it. So, you could say, wow, we could be really good and not even get to the tournament. Yeah. And, that's the thing that happens in our league, where other leagues, their top teams or top 2 teams, they know they're going to be there. We don't have the luxury of knowing that. With 5 teams ranked and probably 2 or 3 max going, somebody's going to be left behind. Yeah. So, this team has the ability to be successful. I have no questions. We have to shoot really well. We have to rebound better. We have to stay healthy. But, we've had teams. I go back to the 1999 team that didn't have Rico, didn't have depth. We had 6 players that really could play. And, that team, we played a point guard that played JV all year. Because we had injuries. Michael Edison tore his ACL, those type of things. So we had to go with a totally kind of patch it up. But our guys just believed that they're going to win. And they got, to the national championship game and lost a tough game in overtime that, many people still today believe we should have won that. It was a tough call down the stretch. So, I look at things like that and look at teams like that, just if you believe and you want to achieve, a lot of times it just happens. So I'm an optimistic guy when it comes to tournament time. If you get there, why not just win the whole thing?
Well, you've done a pretty good job of that so far. Coach, thanks so much for
you're welcome so much. Appreciate it. It was great. Yeah. Thank you.